Hello, hello, hello. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the special members only chat live stream. Thank you guys for being here and supporting the channel. Very much appreciate it. This is one of the perks of being a Team Airrick member, as you get a live stream where you get to participate in every single month, set aside from my normal content. So thank you guys so much for being supporters. And if you would like to participate in the chat, you have two ways of doing that today. You can either sign up and become a Team Airrick member, which gives you access to badges, emotes, and content that is not available on the channel in the Team Airrick member exclusive tab. So all those perks you can do and help support the channel as well. Or you can super chat. Super chat is allowed if you're not a Team Airrick member. You just want to support and add super chat, you can. That would be very awesome. So thank you so much. A couple shout outs to give before we get started. And I have a special guest today. We have Kata in the house, who has just signed up again to become a Team Airrick member. Thank you so much, Kata. I do appreciate it. We have Dino Dragon. Ben 10 Big is in the house. Good to see you. I'm sure we have some more people showing up. For everybody who is watching who is not a Team Airrick member at this time, just know that you will be able to comment after the video goes live. So once we're done, you will 100% be able to leave your comments down below. All right, before we get started, we have a special guest who has just arrived. Hopefully everything's good with his computer now. We have Andy here. Hello, Andy. How are you?
I'm good. My computer is not my friend anymore. It was like it will only take 2 minutes. It took 5.
Okay.
Microsoft, we ain't playing like this. So,
Yeah,
but thank you so much for having me.
Yes, no problem. Let me go ahead. I have your stuff here, so I'm going to get it organized very quickly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we both have a top 5 list of costumes, and so we're going to go through that here, and it's going to equal a 10 list. Look, it's top 10, but it's 2 top 5.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, I thought it was like we each pick 10 costumes. Okay, just take the 5 ones that you, because I put numbers on mine.
Yeah, I see the numbers on yours. Yeah. But for some reason, 2 of them are, oh wait, no, hold on. Yeah, I see it. We can do this. We can do a top 10. We can do that. That works. That works. What we'll do is I'm going to pull up some of these. Hey, Lance, how are you? Hey, Cal, good to see you in the house.
Hello, everyone.
What we will do is, I think the easiest way to do this is probably just to share this window, I think, with yours. Okay, yeah. Wait, are they in order here? Oh, yeah. It looks like they're backwards, but they're in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
My email address can't be seen, right? Because we don't want them crazy.
No, I'm gonna open them up in separate windows.
Okay, cool.
So we'll talk about them there. All right. So let's see.
You know what's funny, when you're looking at StreamYard and you look at like when the people are using your emojis, but like for us on StreamYard, we can't see the actual emoji. We just see like the code for it. So like air love, air thumbs, air flash, air smile.
Why does it do that? I don't understand why it does that. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So
is it not supposed to do that?
I thought it's supposed to show the actual emoji, right? You know what? I bet you it's because for some reason StreamYard has to have the clip art file on their side.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
So when it says air love, it shows up in the YouTube chat because I've already uploaded it to YouTube, but since StreamYard has it, it doesn't work. So it just, because it does the same thing for the like if somebody does a super sticker, that only shows up on YouTube. I mean, it tells you it's a super sticker over here, but you don't actually see the super sticker. So Lance says he has beef with Andy. That's for what reason?
What did I do this time? I really want. This is like I don't even know who I'm fighting anymore. Like it's always like like I will think I do something good, and then I'll come back and people will be like mad at me and so on. Like, what did I do? I promise I'm innocent. I think.
I don't know. What is the beef? I want to know what the beef is.
I also want to know what the beef is.
Where's the beef? Hey Laura, how are you doing? Just give me a second, everyone. I am actually going through and downloading these. But while I'm doing that, Andy, why don't you tell them about the Multiverse of Color in case they were not here on Saturday?
Well, thank you. So Multiverse of Color is it's it's the new website I have now rebranded the mobile port from. I used to run a mobile website for 8 years, and I felt it was time for something more generalized, but also something that I wanted to be able to highlight the people, because a lot of people I work with on DC podcast, we're members of the LGBT community, we are people of color and so on. Yes, of course, there's some white people too, because we won't. Because I remember there was one season where I got accused of like, why don't you have any more white males on the network? I'm like, we have Michael. I think that's enough, but it wasn't on purpose. But so we rebranded the podcast network is folding into Multiverse of Color, and it's now like a general entertainment side. That it's I kind of talk about it as like a multimedia outlet of like there's articles, there's going to be podcasts that aren't just easy podcasts. There's going to be streaming and stuff like that, and we're still like we're only a few weeks out from when we did the full relaunch, but it's exciting. It allows me to do a little more things now as a reporter. Like of course, I'm still working as a screenwriter, I'm still doing Flash podcasts, but Multiverse of Color is really about like highlighting more perspectives from diverse, marginalized communities, and also having more freedom to cover, just not just DC and Marvel. Like it's hard to, for example, go to Amazon and be like, "Hey, could the Flash podcast be invited to the Lord of the Rings press junket?" It's not gonna work out as well. So, but we are still, even though the old site still exists, it's still what we're using it as, but like the Multiverse Color has only been a few weeks old. So, but it's I appreciate everyone's support, everyone checking it out, and there's we're just getting started.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, what we're going to do here is, since you've got 10, and I think most of mine are included in yours, we'll go through your list and first, and like all the way 10 to 1, so you can give your thoughts, and then I will open up my window to show my top 10 list, and we can see how they compare. So let's go through these here. We'll start out with your number 10, and that is the Stargirl suit.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to explain why you like this one, or is it just kind of speak for itself, or how do you feel about this?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, first of all, it is just it's like it came right out of the page from the comics, but also like, it doesn't look like it doesn't look cheap, because we've had various Star Wars costumes on television, and I think this one, like, it feels like a uniform. It feels like something that it can actually protect her, and it just feels like it's a modern suit, because I think when Star Wars was created, it was back in the 90s, I think. So and of course the staff is just absolutely glorious, and but I think that they managed to also find a way to not make it look goofy, because not everything from page to screen will translate well. So with this actually looks like it looks natural. It fits in. So
yeah. So I actually had this one listed as my number 3. So we'll talk about that when we get to it. I put it in top 3, but matter of fact, I'll save all of mine till after yours. That'll be easier to do it that way. So we'll go through all yours, but this one is in my list as well. And I might shuffle it around. I'm looking at my list again, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep it where it is, because I have a few interesting choices on my list. All right, so we have your number 9. This one is not on my list. And this is the, let me pull this up here. I wonder if it'll open into the actual photo thingy or not. No, I have to do it separate. This is annoying.
I'm sorry. I should have named the files after numbers instead. I'm sorry.
No, it's not that. It's just that it won't open directly into the same window for some reason, which is annoying. I can look at the numbers. That's not a problem. This is your number 9. This one is not on my list, and I'm surprised I didn't think of it. So this is the one from The Flash when we first meet her as Black Siren, right? The very first iteration of the suit. This is the one that has the long like skirt on it and the pants underneath, correct? Is that the design?
I think it's more of a coat, but it might be a skirt. I'm not,
I guess it does zip up in the front, so that would make it sort of a coat. But what do you like about this one? Why is this your number 9?
So we've had a lot of Black Canary and Black Canary rated costumes in the Arrowverse, but I feel like this one. And this, it was hard because between the one that Laurel gets in season 8 and the one that she has as Black Siren, like this one feels more of what I imagine Black Canary to look like in live action, just in general, because like there are some versions of the comics where Laurel does have a big coat instead of just a little jacket. I love the clever use of fishnets for her arm sleeves, because you can't be running around in fishnets in Vancouver. There's just no way to do it. But I really love, again, it looks like, again, and I just love the fact that because it was right after Laurel's death on Arrow, and then just one episode of Flash, even though she was evil, they still did way more Black Canary things with her than Arrow ever did in 4 years. Like she had the Canary Cry, the costume. Also, this Katie got to be more, a little more sassy and wittier, because that's the thing. Dinah Laurel Lance she is not just a hard ass, badass. She is also like she has a really funny sense of humor. So for me, like this suit, just again, like it also feels a little otherworldly because this Laurel is from Earth too. So
Right.
so yeah, that's why I'm a sucker for the Black Siren costume.
I'll talk a little about this one since it isn't in my list. I actually not only this costume, but I think this is how Laurel's character should have been from the beginning. Like
Yes.
the personality, not necessarily the backstory, but the personality is right. Powers are right. Like this is and like you said, the fishnet nod. Instead of it being like a majority of the bottom half of the costume, it's in the arms, so it makes it a little bit easier to film in the colder climate. But yeah, just the whole personality that they gave her in this Earth 2 iteration was so much better than what we got. I hate to say it, over on Arrow, because it's like they didn't know what to do with the character, which was kind of frustrating.
And then they ran out of story for her, and then Flash had to save them.
Yeah, that's sad but true. Here's your number 8 costume, which is the Arsenal suit. This is in my list. I'm not going to say what number it is. It's in my list. What do you love about Colton in this costume? Just curious.
So I was always worried that whenever he would get his like own Arsenal Red Arrow suit, that it would almost just be like a duplicate of Steven's first suit, but just red. But this feels like it's his own unique look, and I also love that it's a mixture of modern, but also a little bit of old school. Like if you look at some of the threads, it kind of gives you that Robin Hood feeling that I really love. And Arsenal and Roy Harper is one of my favorite characters in the comics, and I think Colton is out of all the he's one of the few actors on Arrow who like really like. He wasn't just playing Roy, he was Roy, and this suit just looks like and also that shade of red is just it's chef's kiss.
Yeah.
So
did you like miss him when he was gone from the show?
Yes.
Like, as a character?
Yes, I was devastated when he left because no one really saw it coming. He just, he was just gone. I was really really sad. I was really upset, and I felt like there's other characters we could get rid of on the show than Roy. But I understand Colton he was going through things, and I'm happy he's doing much better today. But yeah, it was rough. Like because I love Roy Harper. He's whether he's Arsenal or Red Arrow or Speedy.
I always forget about that one. All right, let's open this one here. This one's interesting because it's a 2. Is it a 2-for-1 on this one? Let me see.
Yeah, I will explain. All
right. This one's interesting. Let's look at this one. Thunder and Lightning from Black Lightning. So I'll allow this one because I feel like this is a good combo. But go ahead. What do you think about these costumes? Because these are not on my list, but I love them. They're not in my top 10 though.
I remember like when season 1 of Black Lightning hadn't even premiered yet, and they released the first photo of Anissa in the Thunder suit. I'm like, they are really taking, they're really doing some fun things. With because these because again Black Thunder, like they're not some of the bigger comics character, but they've had various looks over the years, and I love the fact that one it kind of you can't have thunder without lightning. You can't have lightning without thunder. So I love the fact that get that it's very they have very similar suit, but there's something unique to them. But like, you can kind of tell that they're based off of each other. So I love that.
I want to say that I think that Black Lightning in general, when it comes to the costumes, were so different from what we got on the other shows in terms of the way the costumes looked. And I'm not saying like in a bad way. Like I think it's a very interesting design, the way the costumes flowed together. So that was kind of cool. Laura says, I like the Thunder second suit. I heard that there was and Andy, maybe you know more about this, maybe not, because it is Black Lightning. I don't know how much you follow up with that, but I actually heard that suit was made for her because they anticipated either getting another season or the spinoff happening. Is that true for that second the second Thunder suit?
Okay, so when we say, do we mean the Blackbird suit or
No, the one she wore at the very end of the final season. She'd had
oh,
it
the
for
purple, the
yeah,
purple one. And I've heard very different versions of that story of what was like not like the storyline, but like what the
right.
story of what the suit was intended for.
Mhm.
And I do think it was intended for her to have it on the Painkiller.
Because it
And
looked like it didn't belong on Black Lightning. It felt like it belonged in that like future Painkiller series. It was supposed to be like, oh, I know it's not in the future, but that city, the Akasha
yeah,
Valley, I think is where it
yeah.
was, where
Which
everything was
was
high
very
tech.
futuristic looking, I will say, because
Yes,
I like when we
yeah.
saw the screen, I'm like, is this Wakanda? Is this like their version of
That's
Wakanda?
exactly what I thought when I saw it too. I was like, is this their version of that? Anyway, Thunderbolt Lightning, very, very frightening. It's too funny. All right, so let's jump into your next one, which is we're getting into your top 6 here. The OG Supergirl suit, the one from back in seasons 1, 2, and 3, I think. This is in my list, and I'll talk more about it when I get to mine. But what is your reason for putting this at number 6?
So I was looking at this one was hard because I knew I had one of Supergirl's suits as one of my favorites, but I'm like, but which one is it? So I looked at different pictures again just to remember, and I respect Melissa that that it was pans made it less cold for her, but I didn't like the coloring of it all in general.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't like if you see her hand right there, she has like an opening for her thumb and so on. But the new suit for some reason had like around these fingers, and it just
Mm-hmm.
looks so weird. So yeah, so in general, I preferred the original suit. Again, it's also I love the fact that Colleen
Yeah,
Atwood.
just
Like, don't start it. Don't start it. Because we know who's gonna come. But I love that it was again. It was just so simple, and also I love the fact that there was no way of sexualizing her through this
Mhm.
suit. Like because I love that she had leggings and whatnot, and it was. I mean, it was just perfect from start to finish. Like
Yeah.
it's like this is like Supergirl's version of the Flash in 8 costume. Like it's like you have everything you need with a Supergirl costume.
I also want to say, and I'll talk more about it when I do my list,
Mhm.
but I think when obviously the show was not intended to be filmed in Vancouver originally, so this suit probably was fine down in LA, but definitely a struggle in
Yeah.
Vancouver the way the suit was designed.
So the fact
But
that she had it for 4 seasons, I gotta respect her for it.
yeah. All right, let's get into all right, we're in your top 5 now. We're in your top 5. I'm looking at these, and it's interesting because a lot of these I have in my top 10 list as well. So let's open this one up. This is your number 5. And this one is quite, I think a lot of people are going to agree with you on this one. This is the Green Arrow suit from, I believe that was the final season, correct? That's the final season costume.
The final season costume.
So why this one? Because he's had several different suits over the years. Why did you go with this one, the final one?
For me, yeah, again, this is what again I went back to look at some of the older pictures from different seasons. I was always pro the arm, the sleeve, without sleeves from season 4. Also, I mean, also because we got to see the suit at Comic-Con. Like I was actually in the panel and I saw him coming on stage wearing the whole thing. I was like, holy crap, it's amazing. But in general, I think that when I look at the season 8 column, it very much pays its respect to an homage to not just all the other Arrow suits, but a little bit to Green Arrow as well. Like it's both very modern, but it kind of has again this more Robin Hood feel to it that I would imagine if Robin Hood was like in modern times.
Right.
So and again, I feel like it's the best type of green that worked for the suit because like in season 1, I mean the original suit is, depending on what scenes they would be. You can get lost, and it can look like he's Black
It was like a
Arrow.
homemade suit. It was like a homemade suit in the earlier
Yeah,
seasons. And I know
but
some people like that, but yeah, it definitely was.
but I do love this one. It's just so clean, and it's just
Pagey.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good choice. It's not in my top 5, but definitely a good choice. All right, we're moving on to number 4. And here we go. Let's do this one. This one is also in my. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it's definitely in my list.
Okay.
But, this is the Black Lightning suit. Now, this was the updated one because you know that the flashbacks show the like OG Black Lightning suit. So this was the updated one. Why this one? Why did you pick this one as your number 4? What do you like about it?
It looks sleeker, and also like it felt a little more comic accurate than the. Again, I love the suit he had from the first 2 seasons, but I can imagine that just like the Atom suit, that it gets very heavy at some point, and like at some point it's like Black Lightning or Black Iron Man, like it's like it just looked it started good looking clunkier later in the show's run. So with this, I love that like, first of all, because I remember like he was even they were doing set visits, and he was even like he was even wearing the costume during the set visit. Like he's like, I can actually sit in this, and it pops more. Like I love the lightning emblem, the way it's just framed on his chest. So the only thing I don't like about it, that it was that it came from Agent Odell. Like I would have been mad. I would have been happier if still somehow it was Gamby. But I get it, we can't get everything we want. But I love this This is the best Black Lightning suit he has.
Interesting. When I saw that, it made me miss the show.
I really still do.
All right, let's pull up your number 3. And somehow I overlooked this one. I'm not going to add it in my list now because I've got my top 10. But this is one that for some reason I didn't even think about. But I'm not going to necessarily disagree that it's one of the top suits. And that is the Javicia Leslie Ryan Wilder Batwoman suit. I'll talk a little bit about this one as well, but you give your reasons first because it's not on my list, so I do want to give my comments on it. Why is this your number 3? What's your reason for it?
It felt more cinematic compared to Ruby's costume. I also love that there's more red to this than the original costume did. Like for example, if you look underneath the cape, for the Batwoman cape, Javicia's Batwoman cape is 10 times better because it actually feels more like a bat cape, that it looks it looks big. Also, we know like when she falls down, like she can fold it out and so, and you see more of the red texture. But again, there's more red added to this, and I love the fact that it is it is a Black woman who gets to wear this. We don't see a lot of Black people in the comics getting to carry this symbol, so it looks more cinematic to me.
Yeah, I definitely prefer this over the Ruby Rose suit. I think the Ruby Rose suit was great, but when this came out, it was a superior design. And I always disliked the cape on Ruby Rose's suit. As much as I like the suit, I felt like the cape was very underwhelming. And I think with Javicia's costume, the cape felt like an actual cape, like you said. Also, I'll never forget the scene where she's dropping down from the ceiling, and the cape is just like massive. It's like this big, huge cape dropping down. So yeah. But yeah, so this isn't in my list, but this would be an honorable mention for me. I feel like this is one that I could have included. Keep in mind, the reason why I decided to do this today is because there's so many suits.
Yeah,
there's so many to choose from.
Yeah, this was definitely hard, and like I will say that even if there's some suits that maybe you guys in the chat like that are not on my list, that doesn't mean that I don't love them. It's just again, props to all the amazing costume designers and concept artists that have worked on these suits for, almost 10 years now. So
the other thing is I wanted to sort of bring some positivity because we've had so much like negative the last week or so, that I wanted something to sort of have to look forward to that isn't just like that's uplifting people instead of like putting them down. And it's been pretty rough. Let's jump into your number 2 here, and this is the current season Superman suit, which isn't vastly different from seasons 1 and 2. It's just slightly different in the way the stitching is a little bit different. Why is this your number 2 choice?
Looking
over
back,
like the Supergirl Superman suit. Why is this one your
well, first of all, I will never like the belt that they made Tyler wear on Supergirl. Like, it just looks like it looks like a tool belt, and I'm like, but this looks again, this suit is, I think they took some good lessons from Man of Steel with the terms of the color texture. I do love the fact that they upgrade as the season, that it's more 3-dimensional. But also, because I know there was some people like commenting like in the earlier seasons that there was, like a lot of padding or whatever and so on, I think. And I like that this just looks more natural.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
look at how like just out of this world this looks. And so yeah, and Tyler looks, of course, I mean, he's hot. That's what I'm trying to say. So I do enjoy. Yeah, this is probably the best Superman suit out of the free ones he wore. The black suit, the Supergirl suit, and this one.
Okay. We're gonna save your number one.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I want to go through my list, and then we will see.
I'm very curious to see what you would pick.
So your number one we'll save. So I've moved mine around. So I had numbers on mine, but I changed my mind on my position. So I'm just going to open a window, and then we'll click through them. Hold on, let me see, because I wanted to shuffle mine around a little bit. So, but we will do your number one as we do my number one. All right. Share screen, and here we go. All right, so we're gonna click through mine because I've changed my mind now that I've looked at your list. That's probably not fair, but you know what? I don't care.
It's okay. It's your show. Hey, you know what? It's your channel, and you know what? I've done things where I had to do last minute changes too. Yeah. So
it's okay. So this is not one of my things. I just put this up so that my number 10 isn't visible on the screen yet. Hey, Lord Gino, how are you? Lone Wolf, picking all seasons of The Flash. I say the Flash season 4 suit is my favorite. King Vader says that's the best Superman suit in his opinion, the one from Superman and Lois. So, all right, so let's go to my number 10, and that is the Dreamer costume. Now, I love this suit. I went back and everything that I thought I wanted to put in my top 10, I sort of said, you know what? I'm going to go back and watch clips of them, because I think sometimes suits either look bad in stationary like photos, but look really good in motion, or vice versa. I think this suit is a good example of like, it's just good. Like, it's good from top to bottom. There's no issues with it. I love the gloves. The gloves are interesting. The belt, the asymmetrical belt. I love the paneling on the legs. I think the blue, the baby blue into like the royal blue, looks really good. And what really shines with Nicole here in this photo is, you can tell she loves it as well when she's in this costume. You can see it in her face. She really enjoys it. The mask, I will say, and this is kind of one of the things we see with a lot of these costumes, once they decided they wanted to do these like sort of paste on face mask, they're all very similar. Like, they're just very similar designs, and I get it. They're like, we can pump these out on a 3D printer and and just paint them, and that's fine. But also, I love that hourglass panel in the middle that sort of like gives this really interesting silhouette, because you got the shoulders coming out with those sharp lines, and then it comes down and then out, and it just really like makes her look like this badass superhero, and I really appreciate that. I can't wait, because she's coming back in the next episode of The Flash, and so I'm just excited to see her again. King Vader says the Dreamer suit looks cool. I really hope we see her suit in The Flash 907. I hope so as well. I think it would be a big mistake not to. But there we go. All right, we are going to move on to the next one. Let me open my window here. And my number 9 is the Reverse Flash suit from Armageddon. Now, there are a lot of villain suits that I could have picked, because there's so many villains in the Arrowverse. And I know some people prefer the OG Reverse Flash suit, which I think is really great. It is. I'm not going to deny it. It's probably the one that held up the longest, because every time they went back to it, it still looked really good. But I loved this updated look. I think this was really smart. It looked enough like the new Flash suit without being a complete copy. And if you look at the two of them side by side, there is some changes in the way the panels are sewn in, especially on the shoulders and around the bodice, where the panels come into the center of the suit. Really, really love that. I think it's great.
And the Injustice look to it. If you remember in Reverse Flash from Injustice too,
yeah,
like it felt very much like that was maybe like an intentional design.
Now, do you think they changed because we got this really cool suit and then they did that ugly black suit, which I did not include in this list from the end of last season. I'm wondering, did they make this change because they knew that they were going to do the Armageddon storyline and they needed Grant to swap places with Tom? So they needed to make the suit work because otherwise they would have had to make a because obviously the Reverse Flash suit was made for Matt Lesher / Tom Cavanaugh, but they would have had to make one for Grant. And I think it was easier to just take this design and update it than it is to make a old Reverse Flash suit. Do you think that was probably the reason why, or?
I think it was definitely something. I think it was a combination of things. I think that's definitely one of those factors. But I also think, because I know Tom Cavanaugh had, I think he had some sort of surgery or in his back or something. It was, I know there was something with his back problem. He said on some podcast. I think this suit was made to make things more even more comfortable for him. I don't know what the purpose of the negative Reverse Flash suit was, because I'm like, that looks painful.
Yeah.
I've
also read that I believe it was one of the, what interview was it? I don't remember. Anyway, they said that these new suits, because they're made of a stretch and neoprene, that they feel like wearing pajamas. They're very comfortable compared to the old costumes, the ones that were made with the leather and the pleather, I guess is what it was.
And if I can be a little controversial for a second, the old Reverse Flash suit lost its effect on me very quickly, because I know what they were doing. They were pulling from the Daniel West version of Reverse Flash in the comic, and I hate that suit with a passion.
The original one, the one with the black ombre from the yellow.
It goes it's only yellow on the chest, but then the rest of it is black. I'm like, I don't like that, because I'm like, why would the pants and half of his chest be with black color and then just a little bit of yellow? This looks like, again, if we can go accurate with the Flash suit, I think we can definitely do one for Reverse Flash. And also, he finally got to have red boots. Come on, I thought we would never get that with Reverse Flash on this show.
So this is another thing. These new cowls, like the one he's wearing there and the one that Grant has on, and that we see them in a lot of the newer Arrowverse suits, they were 3D printed to fit directly on their face. Those old cowls I heard they were a nightmare because they had to glue them on sometimes because they didn't fit right. And whenever you had a scene where you went from wearing the cowl to not wearing the cowl, it was a big process because they didn't actually go on very easily. Whereas I've heard these ones just go right on. They fit pull up like spandex and go right on the head. So I'm not really shocked about that. Ben 10 Big says the first Reverse Flash suit was too black in the bottom half of it. So yeah. All right, let's move on to my number 8, which is the Black Lightning suit. Surprise, surprise. We just saw that a second ago. I love this suit. Crest looks so good in this one. It's just got a much more appealing silhouette to it. I really enjoy, and this is something that works on this suit, but it doesn't work on a lot of suits, is the faux belt where the lightning bolts come around the hips and create this extra hip. It doesn't go across the center. We see this in a few different suits. I think the Flash movie suit has this as well, and I don't like it on that one. But here on the Black Lightning suit, I do like it because it does break up this suit and turns it from a onesie into it gives it a little more depth, a little more dimension in it. You can see the shoulder pads here as well. They're very well made because when he lifts his arm up, they just kind of move with the suit, opposed to sometimes you'll see the shoulder pads and they just kind of block up. These ones actually look really well done. Plus, I bet you this is a lot more comfortable, like you said, than that other suit that he was wearing, because that other one had all that hardware in the front of it. And there was something wrong with it, but I feel like this one was much, much more comfortable and much easier for him to get in and out of. And I think it looks much more modern, especially with the little almost computer chip imprints on that front in the yellow. So I really did enjoy that as well. Benton Big says a new Reverse Flash cowl felt more like it was made for Grant, not made for other people. All over the suit is fine. I still stand by the fact that I think the reason why we had that ugly helmet in season 5 with the Flash suit was because Stephen Amell was going to be wearing the suit, and they could not make a cowl for Stephen Amell that would work because it would have been just for that one episode. It was easier just not have a chin strap on it. That's what I think, but I could be wrong because Steven, they looked like they were. I mean, he was so muscular. Putting him into that suit, he looked like he was about to pop out of it. It was really. It was just like I just feel like they didn't want to make a different suit for Steven. I do believe. Let's see. Laura says, "Why couldn't Barry have a chin strap for the Flash suit? They gave Tom one with the new revert." Well, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Flash suit does have a chin strap. It was only one season where he didn't have it. And that was before the new Reverse Flash suit. Unless you're talking about something else. Are you talking about like the movie Flash suit? King Vader says the two worst suits on the Flash were the season 5 suit and the negative Thawne suit. I will not disagree about the negative Thawne suit. That one was pretty bad. All right. So we are, let me close that. Number 7 for me is Stargirl. Stargirl suit. I can't say enough good things about this costume. It is so different and so comic book from like when this came out on the DC streaming service and I saw it because we've had other iterations of Stargirl. We've had it on Legends of Tomorrow and it just looks so cheap. They didn't know how to make it look updated and modern, but still with the same feel of the comic books. And I think what they did with Courtney in this series, especially with Breck, who really just loves this role, is they gave her an opportunity to, it's almost like, in my opinion, like an athlete look. Like they took this like active wear look, like something you would wear if you're like a track runner or something like that. And they just said, you know what, we're going to take that and we're going to make it a superhero costume. And it works here. I love the belt. I think the belt really is what sets it off for me. This is big, clunky, like 90s superhero belt, like something you would see like during the era where everything was straps and belts and stuff. It's almost like a utility belt for her. But it's just so well done. And I would say if you were going to ask me if there's any costume in the DC TV universe that would never need updating, I feel like this is one that would never need to be updated. It doesn't need to change. It's really well done. And you know, I just have to give it to it. But by the way, though, I mean, I can imagine that a suit like this probably wouldn't do well in Vancouver.
Probably not. That's why, you know, I'm glad that, but also I like the fact that this also feel like it was something a teenager would come up with. That's why I love episode 2 so much. When like she's like when she goes to school, she tries to use the sewing machines, and it is. I mean, first of all, like you don't do leather on sewing machines, Courtney, but it was like it feels like something a teenager would come up with.
Well, because they want to look cool. You know, she's like, I want to look cool as a superhero. So I will say this is not very protective. like in terms of fighting, hopefully you know how to fight, because otherwise you're going to get hurt there or whatever. Hey, Gwendolyn, how are you doing? You're not too late. I'm still doing my list. So I like the suit and it fit her character. Absolutely. 100%. I totally agree with that. All right. So we are moving down to my number 6 suit, and that is the OG Supergirl suit, which is number 6 for me. And I don't think they could have done a better job of translating like the classic comic book suit into live action. This is just about perfect. No hate to the newer costume. I do like the new costume. I think it's fine. But it was too blue. I think there was too much blue in the new costume. This one breaks up the colors very well. You know, the top half is very blue, the bottom half is very red, and I think that really shines for the suit. I love the boots here. The boots pop better this way than they do on that other suit because it doesn't feel like it's necessary. Whereas here, there's so much space between that skirt and her feet that you need something to fill up that space. And I think that these boots definitely did that. I do actually think the boots changed when she came over to the CW at some point. I mean, it's the same style, but I think they were different material. But this is from back when it was on another network. So, but you're right. You know what I really love is the sleeves where it comes around her thumbs. I think that's really cool. It's a very different design. And yeah, so Laura says, I like the original here. And then Kata says it's my favorite Supergirl suit. OG Supergirl suit is great. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any complaints. You've already talked a bit about this, but I think for me, this is the best Supergirl suit. So the one I hate, I put it in the thumbnail for the video, is that stupid like kryptonite suit they made for her that looks like it was made at the last minute just because she wasn't available or whatever. I hate it. Yeah, I hated that one. That was not good. All right, here we go. We are at number 5, and that is the season 4.
Yeah, that's a sick one.
I could not put this into my top 10 list because this for me was just a smidge away from being perfect. And I think the problem is, and you can see it here, and this is why I picked this photo, is everything on the suit works except for the midsection of the jacket that he's wearing, the top half of it. It bulks up. Like when he moves, it looks like a leather jacket. I will say this suit probably was very good to wear in Vancouver because it was very, like, it looks like it's very warm. But I love this suit. I just wish that the stitching in the center was a little bit thinner so it didn't bulk up so much. But I'm assuming they did that to sort of fix the silhouette because it's a very boxy, excuse me, I hit the microphone. It's a very boxy jacket on the top. But the pants on this are great. I think the boots are probably the best boots we had that were not the gold boots. And this was that the problem with this one, though, is that's the same cowl. I think that's where the issue lies. They didn't update the cowl enough for this suit. I think it needed to be a different shade. Because if you look at the suit and you look at the cowl, it's very clear the cowl has the shade from like the OG, like season 2, season 3 suit. So it looks like they didn't really update that and they just updated the actual costume. But I love this one. What did you think of this one? Because it wasn't on your list, but I would love your opinion about the season 4 Flash suit.
I remember I loved it initially, like when it made its appearance in season 3 and then from most of season 4. But I never even thought about the fact that the cowl was the same. I never thought about it. But one thing that never worked for me is like and this is because this suit makes it more evident is that if you look at the knee, is it at his knee, you see like those like frames. That's why I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good in the because they picked the right shade of red for the suit. And I think that's what the later suits took inspiration from. But when I look at this, I'm like, it just looks awkward in some regards. It probably is very good to film with in Vancouver and so on.
That's what I thought when I saw this one, especially with the jacket on the top. I was like, that's probably very.
But I think this one was also probably more expensive to reproduce. Whenever because they essentially they kind of like they tear it up in the season 4 finale because I feel like they knew that we can't keep producing this one, so. But I would say this would be like an honorable mention for me if on my list.
I think that this one, once they made this one, this was like the end of this era of suits, like the leather pleather like designs. Because after this one, we go into like that neoprene spandex era, which looks really good for the Flash. And most Arrowverse costumes after season 4 of the Flash have those easy to replicate suits that aren't as hard to like. You're right. This one will be tough because there's a lot of stitching in this one. There's a lot of panels. There's a lot of different materials.
And I would also guess from because my mother she makes clothes with her and so I would I've had to kind of like learn a little bit from her over the last couple of years, but I would imagine that leather is just like it takes a longer time. Not just it doesn't just cost more, but it takes a longer time to have to reproduce. So like I think the material they use now today is like probably a little easier to work with both financially and practically. So
they could have never done the Godspeed storyline if they were still doing leather suits like this because it would have been like too hard to make like 50 costumes. So
damn.
Yeah, Quindle says I do like the neoprene better. I do wonder how Arrow's suit would have changed if we're still on because his was always leather. I think his is a little bit easier though, because his was basically hard lines. You know what I mean? It wasn't a lot of like intricate stitching in a lot of his costumes. I think in a season 8 suit there is a combination of neoprene and leather, which is the one that you like. I feel like that one's a good combo of the two, but chances are it probably would have eventually transitioned into more of a neoprene costume because that's the direction they were going with all of the suits. All right, number 4 for me is the season 4 Green Arrow suit. I love this suit.
It's sick.
This to me, and I know it's not practical for Vancouver. It's super exposed. I bet it's really cold. I get it. But this was my favorite Green Arrow suit. I know Paigey hates this one. just the exposed arms is something we don't typically see with characters like superheroes in the Arrowverse. And so to see that there's actual, like, he works out, you know, he's got like legitimate, there's no padding there or anything like that. I think it just adds a level of authenticity that I loved about Arrow and Green Arrow. And I know this was going to be controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. I love this one. So
is it really controversial? Like because I thought this was the one that people I thought the season 5 suit was the one that people hated more.
No, see, like King Vader says season 4 suit looks bad. Lone Wolf with the big eyes. Paigey calls it poo. But Laura says, I like the suit for Arrow season 4. Gwendolyn says, I love the suit too, but the arm cutout didn't make sense to me. Nice muscle profile though. Lord Genum says, not a fan of sleeveless for Arrow. Looks like a stripper Arrow to me. Okay.
I mean, listen, I don't think anyone would really complain if Oliver were to strip, but I don't understand like how like this looks like he's stripping. Like he looks like he looks more superhero-y. I think that's the difference between, you know, when he had the full sleeves on and so on. Like again, like the green gets very lost in the mix, but here it pops more because you see his skin color and it actually allows the green to pop.
I believe, and the reason why is I believe that season 5, all they do is add sleeves to this suit. I think the season 5 suit is basically this suit with sleeves. You can double check it right now because if I don't want to open another window, but I believe the season 5 suit is basically this suit with sleeves installed, if I remember correctly. Steven said that he loves the season 4 suit, but the weather in Vancouver was hard. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's kind of the same suit. I do think they made some changes from it. Because he obviously got rid of the gauntlets and so on.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, like I get it. Season 5, it was probably safer for him to film in, but in general, I'm
going to go down in the history of all reviewers saying that this is my favorite Green Arrow suit. I don't care. I love it. I think it's great. You know, if I look back, there's probably other slight changes in some of the other seasons that I love, but I actually love this suit. All right, so let's get on to my next one, which is number 3, which is the Arsenal suit, the one from back in the day from Colton Hayes. This is going to be controversial for me to say this. I actually like this more than any Green Arrow costume. I love the way the clip belt that goes into like the leg straps, the lacing. I think what sets it off for me is the lacing in the jacket and the sleeves. Something about that looks really, really good to me. I love this costume. It's just, and the colors of it, the red and the black, I think go really well together. If you go back and you watch the season with him in it, you'll see that this suit holds up. Like, I think this suit would work in on the show today. Some of the older suits don't really work anymore. I think this one definitely would work. I know that they kind of repurposed this one for Willa to wear, or like did a version of it for her. I still prefer this version. I think this is the superior version. Gwendolyn says that the suit was great, like the ombre to it as well. Yes, here I think the ombre works. I don't think it works necessarily, like you said, for like the OG Reverse Flash suit. I do think a little bit of the detail gets lost in the black. Here, I think it works perfectly. Laura says the Arsenal suit is classic and works for today. I agree. Yeah. Well, Lone Wolf, you're going to be very disappointed because Prometheus is not on the list, but I do enjoy Prometheus's costume. Just wasn't in my top 10. All right, now we're going to move in to my number 2 choice, which is the current Superman suit from Superman and Lois,
complete with a water bottle set.
Yeah, I wanted to use this one because you get to see it like actually outside of like you know, with all the stylized stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I will say is that I like the higher boot that they use, the one that comes up a little bit higher on his leg. Other than that, this Superman suit is amazing. Amazing. I like this better than the season 1 and 2 suit, which had the stitching. If you go back and you look, there's a stitching that comes up and then comes over to the shoulders. I'm not sure why they did that. It's not bad. I think the season 1 and 2 suit is fine, but I do like this suit. This one looks more comic book to me. And if I had to give like honorable mention, I would give it to the Fleischer suit that they showed like in the flashbacks, like the one with the lighter blue, and the like, that one to me was also very good. But yeah, this one for me, it really pops. I think you talked earlier about the belt from Superman or from Supergirl, how the belt looked on Tyler Hoechlin opposed to this one. This one I think is better, and I didn't say this when you were talking about it, but this one is better because it comes into like a shape. It gives a curve and creates a dimension on the suit that you don't get on the Supergirl suit, which is basically just a line. It's a straight line and a hard line across. Yeah. I think if you're going to do a belt like the one on Supergirl, you have to have the red, like, outerwear. You know what I mean? The underpants on the outside. Because that hard line requires something else to break up the suit at a shape. Because if you look at it, Superman is like obviously a muscular character. And when you have a hard line somewhere on the suit, it breaks up those shapes in an unappealing way. Whereas this one feels organic and it flows with the muscle structure, like with his 6-pack and all that. It kind of flows into that. So
I don't know. I didn't know he was muscular. You may need to zoom in on the picture a little bit more so I can see this for my evidence for you know, biological study.
Okay, so let's look. So there we go. Yeah, so they may be accentuated for the photo, but trust and believe that Tyler Hoechlin is actually very, very fit. That's the best way to put it.
Yep, I've seen it up close, and this was back when he was on Supergirl. Because
I'm trying to think if there's a Superman suit that I didn't like from live action.
I hate the Superman Returns costume with a passion.
The one that Brandon Routh wore?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that one was great. I think the S was really small on that suit, wasn't it? It was like a tinier.
And the black red cape, like the black red cape, like because did you watch Smallville?
Yes, yeah.
Because you know that that suit that Tom wears eventually is meant to be Superman Returns suit, but they upped it in all the right ways. The cape is fixed, the S is a lot bigger, and the blue is correct and whatnot. Yeah. So, but in Superman Returns, I've only seen that movie once in my life, and I cannot watch it again. I hate that movie.
However, I will say, and I didn't include in this list, but the Kingdom Come suit that he wore in the crossover was beautiful. So that was really great. Gwendolyn says Tyler's ripped. He's always been ripped from Teen Wolf days. So
yep.
Lord Genome says the suit is lit. Yes, I would say that this suit is like you could put him in a movie and it would work. It would work. Eric W, always W's. I am not highlighting any comments giving me an L because it's my show and I refuse to do that. So you can give me L's in the chat, but you're not getting highlighted. It's not happening. Okay, so here's where we come to the end of this these top 10 lists, and I'm gonna reveal my number one, and then I want Andy to tell me if it's the same as his number one because we're waiting here for the end to see. Okay. I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be very controversial because what I picked for my number one, I don't think anybody would pick for their number one. I don't think they would even think about it. Honestly, it's something that's so completely different from what anybody, I don't even know if anybody would put it in their top 3, to be honest, or their top 5. So here we go. This is my number one.
I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna look.
The Flash.
Oh,
the current Flash.
Eric, where is he going with this?
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. This is clearly the best Arrowverse costume. The current Flash suit. I'd be very curious if anybody would disagree in the comments, and if you do, that's fine. You can tell us. But this was your number one as well, correct? I was looking at your list.
Yeah, so it was the same picture even.
Yeah, this suit has 0 problems. There's nothing wrong with this suit. Everything about this suit is absolutely right. The boots are perfect. It's the perfect shade of gold. The red is the perfect shade of red. It fits Grant's body perfectly. Everything that's stitched in is in all the right places. The belt is perfect. The highlighting and the stitching is perfect. The gloves are perfect. The cowl is perfect. Even the wings on the ears are perfect to me. There's literally nothing in my mind that can be nitpicked about this costume. And I would say if anybody online that talks trash about the Arrowverse brings this suit up as like a representation of that, then they've lost their minds.
They can go take the L.
Like Laura says, this suit is a lot better than the Flash. I would agree.
Yeah. 100%. Like if Grant showed up in movies with this suit, this would look so natural. It would fit in so much. You wouldn't need to do anything. The only thing that they would be able to add is that we could have more sequences when he uses a flash ring, which I'm sad that we never really got to see with in season 8 and 9. That we never got to see this suit pop out of a ring, because I get it's expensive, that sequence.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about this costume. When they introduced this suit, even before the gold boots, it was like number one. Like even before the gold boots. The gold boots is just an extra, like, F you to every, like just take it. Just take it. So for me, I really enjoy seeing the evolution of the suit. Keep in mind, everyone, and I know people are going to hate this, but this suit was in its early development stages in season 5 when we had that ugly helmet. This design, this neoprene and spandex, this was the base. Season 5 was the base of this costume. Thank goodness they went out of their way to give him a proper cowl, because could you imagine if they would have just moved forward with that bicycle helmet? That would have been...
I don't want to talk about it. I was, because the longer it went on, the longer I was like, we're stuck with this. We're not getting rid of this.
Yeah. Josh with a $5 super chat supporting the stream as well as being a Team Airrick member. Thank you so much. He said great choice of suits. I think between the two of us and both of our lists, we had a really good variety of actual suits. So looking forward to that. But I don't necessarily disagree with any of your choices. I think you had a great top 10 as well. And
I didn't even think about the reverse. I didn't even think about the reverse Flash suit.
And I think Zoom is a good suit too as well. Lone Wolf says you didn't pick the Zoom costume for his list. I think it is, but I didn't want to put too many Flash suits in my list. I felt like I already had 2. I wanted to pick the one that I prefer. And I think the more modern reverse Flash suit to me slightly edges out the Zoom suit. But if they hadn't updated the reverse Flash suit, then Zoom would have been definitely in my choice. For that. So yeah. Where's the Iris Run suit? You mean the jacket? The jacket? I didn't pick the XS suit because I don't necessarily like the emblem on it. No offense, it is comic book accurate. I'm not a big fan of it. Quinlan says would have been awful. I hated that helmet cowl. I did too, and that it's one of the I don't necessarily mind going back and watching season 5. I know it's not the best season. It's probably the weakest season of the Flash. But that helmet makes it almost unwatchable for me. So, and Lord Genome with $2 super chat and a Team Airrick member says not a fan of Batwoman suit, but it's at least top 10 in my opinion. Well, Andy had it in his top 10. He had it very high on his list actually. And I did mention that for some reason it just slipped my mind because I was going through and there's so many suits to choose from.
Yeah.
And it was just one that got like look at Legends. I could have put Legend suits on here. The White Canary suit could have been on this list. I think the Atom suit in some regards, because it is sort of a miracle of television that suit even exists on TV.
I would have preferred Ray if he had gotten the suit that Ryan Choi eventually got, kind of something more texturized, because that suit looked, it was Iron Man just for CW.
It was, but yeah, there was a lot of options. I mean, we could have even taken a trip into some of the characters over on Supergirl. There was a lot of characters over there that had great costumes. That I think the Martian Manhunter suit when they finally went to a practical costume, that was great as well. I think if you want to talk about villain suits, I think the Rain costume was amazing.
Oh yeah,
I think that was a really good suit. That black Kryptonian suit was really good. So there was a lot. Doing a top 10 list, it was almost impossible to include everything, and that's why it's called a top 10. But we have a Team Airrick member chat from Lone Wolf, who's been a member for 29 months. Thank you so much, Lone Wolf. Can we get a top 10 Arrowverse villain list? I mean, we could do that for the next members only stream. That sounds like a good one to do. And I'm sure Andy would love to come back on and
I would
talk
love
about
to.
that.
I would. That would give me an excuse to revisit some of the older villain costumes. I will say this. I don't think I would still put Prometheus on my list either, because like it's just a black Green Arrow costume. Like it doesn't really pop as much.
Ooh, you're gonna get an L for that one.
I took an L, but I love Prometheus. I think he's the best villain of Arrow.
So if you missed Andy's list, we did it like the reason why we didn't go back and forth is because it was easier to just go all the way to one and then wait to the end. So this will be available immediately as soon as we're done streaming in the next minute or so. This will be available to watch. So if you missed Andy's list, you can go back and check that out. Back in the beginning, or you can even like if you look at the bottom of this video, you can literally like rewind the stream back to the beginning and watch it from that as well. But it will be available. So before I go, a couple things. We're going to give Andy another opportunity to talk about Multiverse of Color. Where can they find Multiverse of Color online? What's the easiest way to do that?
Multiverseofcolor.com. On social media, we it's a little scattered. Facebook it is at Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and TikTok is at Multiverse of Color. Twitter is at Multiverse Color because Elon won't let us have those 2 extra letters. It's fine.
Let me try that.
And on Instagram, it is on the Multiverse of Color because someone has taken that name. So, but if you go to multiverseofcolor.com, we have links to all the social media pages. You can just click on them, and we're hoping to do more things with it as we go through the year. So it's still again, we have to be patient, but I'm excited about this new prospect. I might working on another project that will be like an exclusive to Multiverse of Colors. So
exciting stuff.
Yeah, I haven't even teased on the Flash podcast.
Wow.
So yeah,
exclusive over here. Exclusive tease over here on the stream.
Anyway, exclusive tea. Like
it could be tea. It could be tea time. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. I want to thank Andy for being my guest today and joining me with his top 10 costume countdown. We got more stuff coming up this week. Tonight there is the Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights second episodes of the season. So I will be putting up my reviews for both of those tomorrow. There will be no live stream tonight or tomorrow on Twitch for me. My next live stream will be on Thursday on Twitch. So make sure you join me over there. But I will have 2 videos up tomorrow for everyone. So thank you so much. If you're a Team Airrick member, stay tuned to the community tab. I have another poll coming up soon. And the next live stream we do, as suggested by Lone Wolf, is we're going to do a top 10 Arrowverse villain list. So I think that'll be a lot of fun for you guys to come in. So make sure you think about your top 10 villains. So when you come in to watch the stream, you can chime in and let us know what you think as well. With that being said, we're out of here. Again, if you missed anything from this, do not worry. It'll be available immediately after this. As soon as I end this one, you can go watch it. And if you are someone watching, we had like 80 plus people watching and you're not a Team Airrick member, you will finally be able to chime in under the video in the comment section. So let us know what you think there as well. With that being said, we're out of here. Have a great night. Follow me on all social media. Follow Andy on social media. And we will see everyone next time. Take care.